Right, yeah, cartoon Tory man. I've got a question for you.
Is it another lame pun?
Why would it be that? I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, why did King Arthur's wife marry him?
Go on, give it to me.
Because
Give me the.
because he made her Camelot.
Okay. I think I'll drink to that. Let's open a cold one with the boys.
Oh, that. Oh, wow. I haven't seen Harry in so long. I just thought of him when you said that. Oh,
Oh yeah.
I feel nostalgic, even though that was like 2 months ago. Right. Hello, and welcome to the next of the Worst Classical series. This week we're this time. Who knows? This vid. We're gonna be doing what is apparently Lord Slar's least favourite Classic Who story ever, which comes right after the previous video, which was Joey Morgan's least favourite Classic Who episode ever, which was Terminus, and this time it's the King's Demons. So we're
Terminus is shit, to be fair.
we're going through a little tour of all everyone's least favourite stuff. Yeah.
Oh, obligatory Brian calling out comment, because I'm contractually obligated to do that.
What are you calling him out for? What did he do?
I don't know. I haven't seen the Terminus video.
We both gave it an 8.
You utter... I was about to call you an Australian, but you're not Australian. You utter New Zealand.
I thought you were going to do a bloody James Mango. You utter pillock.
Oh, Jesus. Because, like, whenever Matt is just out here being all like, yes, this McCoy story is, like, a 10 out of 10, I just go, oh, you utter mathematician!
Yeah, yeah. And he stands there, it's just like, I haven't seen it yet, but I think that The Curse of Fenric's going to be my first 11 out of 10. And I'm just like, why are you telling me this?
And now it is. So.
Are you a fortune teller? Anyway.
Well, we are nowhere near Curse of Fenric levels. Today we are at Peter David Boy.
Yes. Blonde sand hair man that thinks things are going to be splendid and then they're not. That's who he is.
And he runs into Anthony vaginally.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is his first appearance since bloody The Racist Story that I watched with Mason.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's this story is, as much as Dylan likes to harp on it being like bottom 3 Classic Who material, I'm not going to say I enjoy it per se. I just think it's a bit really.
Well, I think Dylan would say bottom 2 now because I think he reappraised Time Lash. So I think it's I think it's this and Time in the Rani now are his bottom 2.
Time in the Rani isn't that bad.
Well, we'll get to Time in the Rani when we watch that together because that will be what we do later on.
Yeah.
Down the track. In fact, Time in the Rani is going to be one of my last ever Doctor Who stories I'm going to see for the first time, at least for Classic Who. Because it's going to be that, and then Dragonfire, and then The Wheel in Space. That's pretty wild.
Hell yeah.
Because for you watching at home, I've actually already seen Silver Nemesis, but you won't get to see my reaction until after Dragonfire's out. Anyway, so, spoiler warning, we like to ramble on about stuff, so just bear that in mind. And leave a comment for us to defend stuff against Hellbent. You're running short on time now because there's not a lot left. But do it anyway.
We didn't discuss what episode we defend against Hellbent.
Oh no! I know what we're doing. I've already sorted it out.
Okay.
I've already sorted it out.
I will just be blindsided by this, I guess.
I'm at the point now where I'm just sort of gonna surprise do it. I'm going to do it by surprise now, and you have to come up with it on the spot, which I did with Brian
All right.
last time, and he was very like, he was just like, "Oh no, what do I say?"
Because we're what? Oh no, I won't say it. Never mind.
Oh yeah, speaking of spoilers, you need to stop doing that, because every time we do these videos, you always spoil something, and I get angry.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to know what happens until I see it.
Okay, I will make sure of that.
Yes.
There's not much to spoil in the King's Demons anyway, so...
Well, what I know about it is, I know that the Master's in it, I know that Chameleon's in it, I know that it's possibly a historical, but I'm not sure. I know it has King in it. And I know that it has really poor direction. That's all I know about it. And Chameleon plays like a banjo?
Something like that.
Yeah, and obviously it's 2 parts long, so it's a New Who length story, which explains why Lord Sly doesn't like it, because he doesn't like New Who, because he's a boomer.
Yeah. It doesn't have Vitty.
Doesn't have Vitty, and it's not 6-part.
We love you, Dylan.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, no, don't watch a 6-parter, Dylan. Just watch the King's Demons 3 times over. It'll be the same length.
Jesus.
Anyway, there's a list on screen. As you can see, we're chocking our way through the 80s. We've still got a handful left. So once we do all that, at the bottom we will unlock the finale, which will be Dimensions in Time, much to Jenny Denshin's delight, I'm sure.
Hi, Jenny. She won't see this, but...
Yeah. He's way too busy doing very important things, apparently. I don't know. Patreon in the link in the bottom if you want early access to these videos, if you want like fucking exclusive access to like full length Game of Thrones reactions. We got that there. There's a whole bunch you can get there. There's a whole lot. And also the Master Tier where you can tell us what to do. It's there. It's there. Look at it. Look at it. Stare at it. Glance at it. Don't blink. Don't even blink. Blink and you're dead.
Is this the first reaction I'm recording since I left Twitter?
Well, since
Because I know the
Meglos.
Because I know Meglos was released after I left Twitter, but did I record that one before?
Well, you
I
probably
can't
would have.
remember.
Probably.
Yeah.
I
So,
think so.
now I actually have transcended that dreadful website. So
Yeah. Well, all of these reactions are advertised on there, and this marathon I'm doing is on there. So. Yeah.
I don't miss y'all.
And especially, who do you not miss? Here's your opportunity, Will. Who do you especially not miss?
Oh, for the call out, Brian of Terminus watchingness. I don't know. I have no strong feelings on this.
Yeah, I got you on this because I didn't know anyone else that liked this story, or at least didn't.
I mean,
think
I
it
don't
was
really.
bad.
Yeah, I don't really like it per se. It's perfectly watchable. You know, it's just...
It's weird because it's like the most. What is it, like the most hated story from your least favorite Classic Who season, yet you think it's okay? That's kind of weird,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like...
The stories I really like from this season are Snake Dance and Enlightenment, and the Five Doctors if it counts.
So this is like your Classic Who equivalent to the Rings of Akaten, because Series 7's your least favorite in New Who. The most hated one of that on the DWM is the Rings of Akaten, and you're like, no, it's fine.
Yeah, it's weird.
So is the King's Demons going to be the Rings of Akaten Classic Who? Are we going to get... Is Tegan and Chameleon going to sing a song for us? Well, sing Matilda, Doctor.
They're going to throw a leaf at the villain.
Anyway, I'm ready to get into this. Nice bite-sized little 2-parter. Let's see how it goes. I know that
Okie
I know that if I like it, Lord Slar's probably going to murder me, but that's okay. He's done that many times before.
Of course, you'll give it like a 82 out of 10 because the themes are quite deep.
Somehow I don't think the King's Demons is going to be thematically deep. Just a guess. I'm just going to hazard a guess and say it's not going to be like that.
Yeah, it might surprise you, but who knows?
Yeah, I've heard a bunch of wonky things about this one. Like it's one that people don't really talk about, to be honest.
This might be the first Doctor Who story I've watched since my marathon ended. So just jumping right back to Davison.
It's so depressing that you had to end with the triple header that is Ascension of the Cybermen, The Timeless Children, and Revolution of the Daleks.
Yeah, they're all a bit crap.
They're all very crap.
Oh, there's a dog.
Wow.
Oh, two dogs.
Wow. Harry McClary.
All the
Donald
budget.
McClary. Hercules Morse as big as a horse. Snitzel von Krumm with a very low tum.
Pretty sure this is one of the first Davison stories that I showed you. Purely because it was short. I love how you can tell that the bowl of fruit on the table is made of plastic.
I've always wondered, is it contrived that characters come up with really interesting things to say off the cuff, you know? They got like really poetic words. Do they just do that on the fly? That never happens in real life.
Oh, but this is the past where they talked like that, I guess. I don't know.
We are just geniuses of the language. They're basically just like rappers. They're basically just freestyle rappers is what they are.
It's the writer's mentality of everyone in the past talked like Shakespeare. It's just...
Also, historicals,
oh no!
Historicals in the 80s are always like John Nathan Turner being like, now what was it like when I was younger, when I had to make those stories? I can't remember, it was so long ago.
Everyone here's just like, oh verily, forsooth,
yes.
Alas.
It's just like, when I was in high school, I was floor managing some Patrick Troughton story about the Highlanders. I can't remember much about it, but that's how we should direct this.
Well, there's horses. They totally went out with the budget for this story.
This is like the Mountain versus Sir Hugh. Except the king's not obese.
Yeah. Doesn't end in Clegane Ball.
I can imagine Peter Davison watching Clegane Bowl and saying it's going to be absolutely splendid. Quickly, Tegan. The fight's about to begin.
What an epic fight scene this is.
Oh, I thought it was going to land in the middle of it. Oh, did it?
No, it just kind of landed at the side. Hard to tell, the direction's not very good.
I would have loved if they'd both stabbed the TARDIS and impaled themselves. Oh, hello, look at that shirt.
Tegan's look is very awkward in this story. Because it's her season 20 haircut with a season 21 outfit. It's weird. Oh yeah, and she's wearing a carpet for over the top of it.
Yeah, this is like the photo they have on Google Images, isn't it? Yeah.
I have no need of aid from Lucifer.
Oh my god, of course. It's Anthony Ainley. Hello there. Recognize it straight away.
Yeah. Is the master in this story?
I think it doesn't help that Anthony Ainley is so recognizable.
Yeah.
Very much.
Hello. As we've established, Peter Davison communicates in.
Well, he's got asthma. Give him a break.
Wait, does he legit have asthma?
No, I'm joking. Obviously.
Oh right. Okay. I was about to say.
Although he might now because he sounds like he's smoked like 50,000 cigars. You ask him now, he's just like, oh yes, they came to my house with Guinness World Records for Caves of Androzani being the most popular story. It's just like, you sound nothing like you used to. Yes, Nissa, these Cybermen have spare parts. Whereas back in the 80s, he was just like, quickly!
My balls haven't dropped even though I'm in my late 20s.
Yeah, legitimately, Adric has a deeper voice.
He's so precious. I want to cup his face. The Doctor, obviously, not the fucking King John.
Yeah.
Wow, King John is so cute.
So, this time, is there actually going to be a reason why the Master's in disguise?
I feel like this is a common shot we just see in the Davison era. Just like when he walks into an area, we just get a full body shot of the Doctor and companions.
Well, that's
just
probably because he's got so many companions. That's why. So there's lots of wide shots.
Yeah,
Like
gotta fit them all on screen.
Like there's that thing in the Visitation when they're in that barn. There's multiple levels, so they have to go way back so they can see all the characters.
Another way of keeping warm.
What's he doing here?
It's like that scene in the Shakespeare Code.
For a meal.
Adric would know. Oh yeah, when Hugh saw the story, he made a joke that like Turlo gets in trouble in this story for looking out of a window. They should have just kept putting more layers onto Tegan, because she's wearing like that dress, she's wearing a coat, and she's wearing a rug. Doctor should have put his coat over the top.
Turlo's wearing his like 4-day old school uniform that hasn't been washed.
His line delivery is really weird in this disguise.
Well, at least it's
But
not.
I think-
at least it's not racist. Will at least it's not racist like it was last time.
Yeah. I mean, I think he is meant to be a Frenchman.
Yeah, but the French, you know. Okay,
The French don't have rights.
no, that's not what I meant. That would be like culturally prejudice, not racism.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, a yellow light rather than a red light. Like, being culturally prejudiced is a bit edgy. It depends on like the context and like the people involved. Whereas like racism's a big no. Oof.
Yeah.
Especially
Although my point was that Ainley's French accent is a bit weird. The plot of this story, it kind of feels like it just happens. Like, it doesn't feel like it really organically progresses, I don't think. It's just kind of stuff happens.
Well, then, in theory, you shouldn't Matt like it because stuff happens. Things happen, though. Things happen. That makes it better than the Keeper of Traken.
Not the king. Then who? An imposter. I have
Sus.
served.
Oh, the poor TARDIS.
I feel like I'm watching a medieval fantasy role-playing game. And these
Yeah.
these are like the cutscenes.
Wow, they have 5 horses. You can tell the budget's big with this one.
Oh, it's the dwarf. I've heard about the dwarf. It's a bit like the one from Kinder, actually. How that it like settles the tension.
Yeah. Wow, it is plastic fruit. I was right.
Is that a sarcophagus? Looks like it.
It's an Iron Maiden.
Ah.
Something that apparently didn't actually exist.
Are they going to play heavy
It's like
metal
a weird-
music on the banjo?
Oh, Doctor, this plastic fruit is delicious.
Not as good as that other plastic fruit we had on that boat last time, though. Well done. Clap, clap.
Let us have a lute.
Ah, here it is. It's a lute, not a banjo.
Sing in praise of total war.
It's a Doctor Who musical.
Against the Saracen we are born.
But does this tie into the Crusade at all?
I don't think so.
No scootage in eternity.
I can see what Dylan means by the direction being a bit flat. In places.
Oh, you haven't seen anything yet. Jesus.
It's a bit like, you know... It is a bit point and shoot, isn't it?
All I'll say is when we've reached the end of part 1, you'll have even more, like, to complain about with the direction.
Okay.
Because, damn.
Performance. One just can't follow that. I am insulted.
Your French accent is also terrible.
Oh, yes, I've heard about this bloody sword fight.
Yeah, this is what I mean about the direction.
So the Sea Devils, this is not, apparently.
No. Oh. This isn't even an Androids of Tara sword fight. Like,
Oh, I love that one. Not in Christmas Invasion either.
yeah.
Or, there's a few in the 60s, actually, but they're usually in, like, the missing episodes.
Yeah. Half a second shot of Tegan just looking weird. Oh, it's just bad.
I think I prefer the one from Robot of Sherwood, actually. Where he uses a spoon.
Or the Aztecs.
Oh, the Aztecs, yeah.
OMG, I am so shocked.
You escaped from Zarethas. Oh, my dear doctor, you have been naive.
Yeah, you really have. How did you not know it was the Master? It was so obvious.
We're halfway through the story,
I know
and
it. I know it. It's weird, eh?
and I feel nothing from it.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was watchable, but it wasn't like it was
Little bit,
just stuff.
A little bit vacuous.
It was just stuff. I can't even analyze it. It's just stuff happened.
I don't know. I thought some of it was alright. Some of it.
I mean, I always
Some of it. I mean.
I always enjoy watching 5e and Tegan just like basking in the atmosphere of a place where he's like over analyzing and Tegan's just like, let's just piss off already.
I think the weirdest thing is like it's got a really cool setting and it's good lighting, but the actual camera shots are so boring. Like, they're just really kind of sterile. It's very strange. I like the performance. I like the performance for King John. He's quite cool.
Yeah. And you can tell they went all out with the budget in getting 5 horses and 2 dogs and plastic fruit and a dwarf.
Yeah, true, yeah. The altercation at the horses thing was very. The reaction was very mild. It was just like, oh dear, and then they get captured.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was thoroughly okay. I know that Chameleon's in the second part, and that's a bit worrying.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't have anything else. Shall we delve straight into part 2? Because I have nothing to say about part 1.
It was kind of just in one ear out the other, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy because early today I watched Enlightenment, which is this just beautifully rich story with great characters and a great plot and just so much drama and concepts, and it's just utterly Doctor Who in every way possible. And then I go to watch this and it's like, oh well.
This is just like, oh yeah, this happened.
Yeah.
It's the most fillery of filler stories.
It's like, in terms of like stories featuring the Master, this feels like it has about as much prestige as the Eaters of Light.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Jesus.
let's see if Anthony Ainley and the silly robot can entertain.
Rumpy bum, rumpy bum. Or as Stephen Moffat thinks, umptium, umptium. Ugh!
Yeah, but he's wrong about a lot of things.
He's a hack writer. Okay.
No, he has some talent. He just needs to know how to execute it properly.
Yeah.
I don't like his vision though. Like I like his concepts, but I don't like his vision. If that makes sense.
Indeed. Your criticism is very refined and has finesse.
Unlike this sword
Oh,
fight.
why do we resume straight from, like, the shittiest part?
Wow, this is a two-parter and they have to replay the sword fight. That just shows how small the script is.
Wait, was Tegan genuinely trying to impale the master?
She was trying to do something.
What if she succeeded and just stabbed the master?
It's better written than that scene in The Timeless Children where she wants to push the button.
Let the maiden embrace the vanquished.
I love that dialogue. Let the maiden embrace the vanquish.
The tension is really flat.
There was a bit of, like, no build-up for this. Oh, it's his TARDIS. Okay.
Of course it is.
So that's why he called him a demon.
Come, my toy.
My plan is a success. Mwahaha.
Ah, yes. Okay. Chameleon is playing that person. Now I understand.
It's probably good that you got me instead of Dylan, because Dylan would just be spending the whole thing going, "This is shit! It's so shit, because it doesn't have Vit."
Yeah, no, it's so surface level. Actually, no, that sounds more like a southerner. I shouldn't say that.
While I'm just here like, this kind of exists. Oh yeah, Turlo's in this story.
That's quite unique, actually. Materialize intentionally inside a prison.
Don't listen to him, please. He is the evil one.
We shall see.
Okay, Chris Chibnall dialogue.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like this is a bit more charming than Chris Chibnall. Like, at least there's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek to it.
I guess.
I guess you get the occasional King James and whatnot, but I don't know.
Arise, Sir Doctor.
Tooth and Claw saw this and was like, let's do it for real, but with a sexy wealth.
Does that mean he's Sir Doctor? Or did he get unsirred?
Good question.
Jeffrey. For you, cousin.
Oh no, the Doctor is pretending to betray these characters who have no personality. The tension is so strong.
Dun, 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 dun. I like the blend of like 80s synth and banjo loot.
And rest the
We shall retire. We shall retire. This guy is like making the story for me. Like he's the best part.
Yeah. He's easily the best thing about the story that isn't the Doctor or Tegan. Or Anthony Ainley.
Yeah. But they're like interfering in the story though. They're not like, original characters.
Yeah.
Doctor, you won't believe this, but
You've seen another TARDIS. Release him. The maiden quite.
That's quite funny.
I do agree with Dylan, like, what goal is the Master trying to achieve from that? Like, what does he get out of that? Just the lols, I guess? Like, I know the Master's always just kind of been a bit of a cartoony villain whose motivations are a bit, like, silly. But, like, it's got to follow
I
some
feel
form
like
of internal logic.
Raj Delgado's master always had an end goal, though. There was always something he
Yeah.
wanted.
yeah, like in that silliness, there's got to be some internal logic.
The thing is, the Anthony and the Master's plans of like rather than getting like more intense, they've gotten less intense. Like he started out like wanting to own a whole society and then ending the universe, and now he's at like, oh, I'm just gonna mess around with a few affairs in the past. You know, a bit of soap
Yeah.
opera.
Back to square one. I'm
Why
sorry.
is everything out of focus?
alone to London, if someone will have a horse.
Is this the Snyder Cut or something? Why is everything out of focus?
I imagine this is one of those stories that was way more interesting, like, behind the scenes than it actually is as a story. Because, like, whenever we see the outside shots, I almost feel like, damn, I want to go there. But, like, the story itself, I'm just like, ugh. Turlo slapped a horse's ass.
Oh no.
Oh no, I care.
How does
Turlo looked out of a window again and got in trouble again.
Other demons may try to harm you.
Time for Tigers just crash out of the plot.
Them somehow.
Well, she's learnt since Fall to Doomsday how to fly that machine, obviously.
God, this story's just a bit pants. Arguably the most memorable part of the story. Well, I say arguably, definitely the most memorable part of the story.
It's Philip. Look, it's Philip.
Yeah.
It's quite Uncanny Valley, really.
So it ties into Time Flight.
Capable of infinite form or personality.
Interesting.
It's quite powerful.
Well said, my demon.
Davison's reaction there was such a mood. He was like, interesting, in the most monotone voice.
Let's play with the toy. Think about it though. Chameleon is quite a powerful device, isn't it? Like, it literally become anyone.
And they do fucking nothing with him. Ever.
Thus the foundations of parliamentary democracy will never be laid. Brilliant.
I always like that bit, to be fair.
You will not feel like I still have my wits. So do I.
My wits.
I was trying to help him. Help him? To a horse to get to London. To what end? To warn the king. The king is here.
Mark Strickton's acting there was really hammy.
I love Mark Strickton. He's so weird.
Yeah.
Tractators!
I may not need
He
to
has
forget
heels.
even those of a mind of his
Anthony Ainley is always a star in every story he's in. He just has so much charisma.
Yeah.
Such perfidy must not go unpunished. We would have boiling oil.
Boiling oil. As you can tell, the things I like about this story are mostly surface level.
Yeah.
You know, I like the way the posh man says boiling oil. Oh, here we go. Is this foreshadowing for the next story? Ooh.
And now Chameleon is like, whoa, I'm having a existential crisis.
Is this what it feels like to be spit roast, Will?
Oh.
Actually, it's more like a tug of war. The demon box has arrived. Oh, hello there.
boy. I've had quite enough of you, whoever you are. So don't try me too far.
Taro! No!
Two Tegans.
He could end up anywhere except where he wants to go.
Rather like the TARDIS, really.
Uh-huh.
So the plot literally just ends in a shrug.
And a very fine mind it is, too.
I would be honored if you would allow me to stay.
Gee, it's so creepy. It's so creepy to look at. Like Uncanny Valley.
I'm very grateful, Doctor.
Jesus Christ.
You can have my room for all I care.
He looks directly at the camera.
Oh my god.
This is this is just the 80s.
Chameleon is very creepy.
Well, aren't you going to reset the coordinates?
No? That's where we're going.
And then in the next story, he has an asthma attack at the start.
And Chameleon is nowhere to be seen for
Yeah.
a billion years. Thank
Or
goodness.
maybe the Chameleon was actually the fourth Doctor in Sharda. And he falls off the boat
Jesus.
and gets electrocuted.
That was such a that was a nothing story.
That was a story. It happened. It exists.
Ugh.
Okay. The King's Demons. I don't have much to say.
It's a nothing story. It's just
I mean, I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was bad. I was just like,
I didn't hate it either. It's just very
it's very forgettable, isn't it? And I've just watched it, and I'm already forgetting it.
They go to medieval times, something about Magna Carta that doesn't really play into the plot at all.
Mm-hmm.
The Master is there. He has a robot. The Doctor takes the robot. End of plot.
Yeah, basically. This was like, it was like a bunch of cutscenes, isn't it?
You could just tell that they had they had the whole season laid out. They already had the anniversary special planned, so they just had this 2-episode gap they just need to plug with something.
Well, it's
And
just
they're
like,
just
because
this.
you've got this big Black Guardian trilogy, you've got the 5 Doctors, and you've got, obviously, Christopher Bailey comes back to do a sequel to Kinder, and then you've also got the first story where it's like, oh, we're going to bring Omega back, and then it's like, well, what are we going to do for the other 2 slots that are there? I don't know. Terrence Dudley, what you got? You did Black Orchid last year, what do you got this time? There's a historical, we need a returning villain because it's season 20. The Master? Yeah. Okay. Time to Time Flight, what has he got? He's got a robot that can turn into the King. Great. And that's what you got.
And Chameleon is the embodiment of the simultaneous overambition and underwhelming execution of the 80s. Just way too high concept for this era and not utilized well at all. Just when people embody
very strange.
Yeah. When you think of 82 has a stigma to it that it was just a bad idea that hasn't aged well at all and was lame at the time. And while that is not entirely true, there are some bits of 82 that are phenomenal, Chameleon is the embodiment of that.
I love 82. I love it to bits, but not this one.
Yeah. Chameleon is the embodiment of that we are totally going to regret this later.
I think this is also a testament to, like, when you do... Not all historicals have to be like this, but when you do a historical that's specifically to do with, like, monarchy and politics, you really need more than 2 parts, because you need to do the world building. Because, like, you know, if you look at something like, you know, like Tooth and Claw, it's very focused, and it's very character-driven. So... you can really, you know...
And for us shallow people like me, there's a sexy werewolf in it.
Yes, true. but the actual... the characters in Tooth and Claw are really well developed. Even though it's the same length as this story. Maybe even slightly shorter. But it's because it's written by fucking Russell T Davies, who's one of the best character writers in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Whereas this was just very average. Like, it was almost excruciatingly average.
Yeah. And Chameleon isn't sexy at all. So
Chameleon...
I mean, he has nipples.
I mean, to be fair, I actually really liked Chameleon as King John. Like, I really liked him as King John. It's just once he became actual Chameleon, it was like, oh my god, that's scary.
Yeah.
I can imagine, like, flicking this on as a kid and, you know, enjoying it. But I think also, like, Black Orchid is so much better than this, like, at doing like a short story. For Terrence Sudley, I think it just, that story showcases this style of drama so much better than the King's Demons.
Black Orchid actually feels like a breather in, like, the very drama heavy season 19. It's like, we're gonna... The companions who are usually, like, at each other's throats and, like, bickering, they're actually just gonna enjoy themselves for a bit while the Doctor's in a dressing gown.
The plot is also quite interesting because it unfolds in a way that's captivating, because there's so much... It's Agatha Christie-esque. There's, you know, a mystery going around, and the way that you find it out is through the different points of view of all the different characters. Obviously, you got, like, you know, the Doctor walking through the catacombs of the house, and you got, like, Nyssa and her twin, and then you got Adric eating, and Tegan, you know, just being funny. But, like,
doing the Charleston.
But, like, their POVs all contribute to the mystery, and that's really captivating. Whereas with the King's Demons, the entire thing is just told to you in exposition scenes, and then the story ends. Like, it's just... Yeah. It's just so, like... I think you made a comment about Chibnall. This definitely does feel kind of Chibnall-esque. Maybe not as broken or as wooden, but it definitely has some of that lackadaisical, lazy Chibnall writing to it.
What inspired that comment was when King John in quotation marks was about to knight the Doctor. It's like, approach my demon and his squire. And the Doctor just turns Tegan and says, he means you.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, duh. Who else would he mean?
The thing is, unlike Chibnall, who I still think some of the leads were actually pretty good. Like, I thought Peter Davison and Anthony Ainley were still really good in their performances for the most part. Some of it was a bit off, like, you know, a little bit.
The sword fight.
The sword fight, yeah. But that's kind of more choreography than, you know, dialogue acting. Yeah. And you know, Janet Fielding was still fun. Turlough kind of got nothing to do. He got chained up a bit. It was actually kind of weird how the Doctor was just so, like, dismissal of him, even though in the very last story, Turlough literally, you know, did a massive thing for his character where he chose the right thing over greed. This is like a massive thing for him, enlightenment, and then in this story, he gets taken and Tegan's like, what about Turlough? The Doctor's like, oh, he'll be fine. We'll find him eventually.
Yeah.
It's just like, if Turlough, you know, literally one day ago, let's say it was a day, I don't know how long it was, had decided another way, Doctor, you would be dead. Decided to save your life instead of have the diamonds.
This is such a nothing story.
Yeah.
So nothing. There's nothing to say about it.
Yeah, there's
plastic fruit.
Plastic fruit. I was about to say that. There's the joust at the start. That's quite cool.
They have horses.
I like the reveal that the reason why he calls them demons is because the Master already was there beforehand. That was cool.
The horses, they gave a really good performance. I have nothing to say. It's such a nothing story.
Yeah, no, the side cast was really undercooked, like really severely undercooked, and that's such a shame.
I can't remember any of their. I can't even remember the name of the master's disguise. Like, just French dude. That's
Yeah,
what he
there
is
was
to
also
me.
the guy that looked like Douglas Camfield as well, and he was on one of the horses, and then the doctor fake threatened him. And then there was the
I mean, the doctor was knighted by a fake king. That's something that happened.
Yeah,
And a sword fight,
yeah,
and that's it. That's it. That is literally it.
that's it really. It's pretty simple stuff. So,
Okay.
in terms of how it's received, it's hardly ever talked about and usually regarded low and mentioned. I mean, I can understand why it's hardly ever talked about, because, like, what is there to say?
Yeah, like I have like my overlooked writers analysis
Yeah.
I do on Universals. Like I have a list of like possible writers I could do, and Terrence Dudley is on there, but like I would have nothing to say about this. It's just this happens.
Yeah, I have a lot more to say about his other stories.
Yeah,
this
I'd probably
one
need to get
it was
didn't
alright.
didn't he write Four to Doomsday? Because I know Matt would
Yeah.
love to talk about that.
So would I. I really like that story, and Black
I
Orchid.
know you do.
I like Fortitude
I
and Black
I
Orchid
like
a
Black
lot.
Orchid.
I like both of them.
I like
a
Black
lot,
Orchid.
a
so.
lot, but this one not so much. Did he do anything in season 21? I can't remember.
No,
No.
he only did these 3.
Okay. Well, in terms of where it ranks on the DWM, it's very low. Like, out of 241 stories, it's 228, and somehow it's lower than Warriors of the Deep. I think that's a bit harsh.
Warriors of the Deep is flat out, like, not only is the production shit, but the characterization of the Doctor and the Silurians is flat out insulting.
I think the tone was fine. It's just the execution was so dire.
Yeah. Whereas the King's Demons is just like, we need to fill time and we've kind of ran out of steam, just like throw something in there. It's what people assume Planet of the Dead is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say like I love Planet of the Dead or anything. I just think it's but like Planet of the Dead has more than this. There's more in Planet of the Dead than this.
I definitely think it's fair to say this is filler, even though it has the Master in it and it technically introduces a new companion, I guess you could say. But I don't know. It's just
Like
there.
when people say some 6-parters have filler in them, no way. They should watch this story to know what filler truly looks like.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that that's different because a lot of those people are accusing 6-part stories having episodes in them that are filler and being wrong about it. Whereas this is more so, and not just episodes, but like an entire story is filler.
Yeah.
And that's different.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of like for me. This is kind of a bit like I guess you could like I mentioned the Eaters of Light earlier, but it does kind of give me that sort of Eaters of Light. Like I completely forgot I just watched that vibe. It is very...
Even Eaters of Light, I think, is more memorable than this.
What for?
Bill, I guess. I don't know.
Well, because it's like the umpteenth time she reminds the audience she's gay.
Yeah, there's a gay slumber party in a hill with all the Roman Legion, and that's the Rainbow Parade.
There's some really bad child actors as well. That's memorable.
Yeah.
And Nardol's in a weird
And there's a
orange
weird-
dressing gown.
And then there's a weird scene at the end where Missy cries. Like, that's more memorable than this.
Also, the Eaters of Light has some of the weirdest pacing ever, and that's upsetting, which makes it memorable.
Yeah. Whereas this is just...
Yeah. I'm not sure which one I think is better or worse, though. That's a good question. Don't really know. They have different positives and negatives, I think. But I don't know. It's a weird... It's so weird talking. I think out of all the ones I've done so far, I think this might be the hardest one to actually talk about. Is the King's Demons? So much so that I said more about Black Orchid than I did the King's Demons in this review. But I would say I'd say for Classic Who it probably does deserve to be low, but not below Warriors of the Deep. I think that's very harsh.
Not the worst Davison story. I prefer this over Time Flight. I prefer this over Terminus. I prefer this over Warriors of the Deep.
Oh, really? You prefer this over Terminus? You're a sad man.
I can't stand Terminus. Sorry.
Although what's the word? I expect that's not a hot take. But,
I've watched Terminus like 4 times and I've been bored out of my mind each time. But...
I've only seen it once and I thought it was... obviously it had some production issues, but I thought the writing was pretty stellar.
Fucking Connor, stop it with my themes!
Well, I don't know what to say. Stephen Gallagher's brilliant.
But anyway, that's not what this conversation is about. This conversation is about fucking King's Demons.
We're getting too distracted. So yeah, I thought Terrence Dudley could have done better. Like, this was a bit lazy, I think.
That's how nothingy this story is when we go into tangents about other stories.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of writing, I think Terrence Dudley, he could have done better. This was a little bit lazy.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, I don't know how much time he had, so that is a good point. But like, I don't know. This came across to me like there's a lot of New Who stories that have this kind of syndrome. Most of them are later on, obviously, because early,
just nothing.
Because early New Who is overseen by Brilliance, but once you start getting later on, the showrunners start to sort of just fall asleep. You get stories like this.
This is like a Cold War or a Witchfinders or something. Just something I do not care to revisit. It's just empty and leaves a nothingy aftertaste.
Although I do think that Peter Davison is much better in this than Matt Smith is in bloody Cold War.
I'm a Time Lord.
Oh yes, Clara. Tony Virgo's direction.
It's shit. Moving on.
Yeah,
There's not much to say.
Yep, it's a bit poor, isn't it? It's just a bit bad.
It's very flat, very matter of fact, very. We stuck a camera in a room and just let the actors walk around rather than doing anything exciting with the direction.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I have something good to say. I liked the music by Jonathan Gibbs and Peter Howell. I liked that because they blended together the lute and the synth, and that was nice.
Yeah. This makes a step up from Terminus. I can't stand the music in Terminus.
Really? I fucking love the music in Terminus. That's by Roger Lim, right? Yeah, I thought it was great.
No.
What is wrong with you? Gibbs also did the scores in Warriors of the Deep, Vengeance on Varos, and Mark of the Rani.
Okay.
I can't remember the score of Warriors of the Deep. I can't remember what it sounds like.
I like the score of Mark of the Rani, so I can't remember what the score is like in Vengeance on Varos.
Probably really.
I'm sure
it sounds like robots vomiting is what I described Colin Baker era music.
Oh yeah.
That's what it all sounds like. And it's got that weird fart noise, but it sounds like a machine farting. It's like ping. You know the one I'm talking about?
I guess, do we talk about Chameleon as a concept? Because I know you haven't seen Planet of Fire yet, but...
No, I haven't. Would you like to talk about Chameleon before I move on to the trivia?
Alright, Chameleon... As I said before, he's just the embodiment of the 80s, just over-ambition, but lackluster execution that hasn't aged well and probably looked like shit at the time as well. And Nightmare Fuel, and they shouldn't have bothered. It's a bit cringe. That's Chameleon. And apparently there's a curse around Chameleon. Because then his inventor died, and then Gerald Flood, the voice actor, died, and then Anthony Ainley died, and then the writers of all his stories died. That's all there is about Chameleon.
So,
It's just he sucks.
In the Radio Times, the Master's character was credited as Sir Giles Estram, and Estram is an anagram of Master. And then also he was being played by an actor called James Stoker, which is an anagram of Master's joke.
Okay.
Oh, actually,
Woo.
I will say, like, when the story first started, and I was sort of like trying to get into it, I was thinking like this kind of has a bit of that Blackadder Monty Python vibe, doesn't it?
A smidgen, but I think just a lot of old BBC medieval stuff just has that vibe. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Studio bound, medieval aesthetic.
Yeah. And there was also the lute player at the start, and it reminded me of Marillion from Game of Thrones. The one that gets his tongue cut out by Joffrey. Or at least it wasn't Joffrey, it was still ill in pain, but Joffrey commanded it.
Imagine this story, but with a Game of Thrones budget.
It'd probably be really good.
It would still be nothing. It would still be nothing.
Okay,
but like,
so
it would be...
Game of Thrones Season 8 then.
Yeah.
Actually, honestly, I think The King's Demons might be better than Season 8. To be completely honest.
Probably.
To be completely honest.
Probably, yeah.
Despite the fact that it had hundreds of millions of dollars thrown at it, I think The King's Demons might be better.
Ugh. God. What other trivia is there?
Oh, this contains an original song. So there's a song made for the story called The King's Song by Peter Howell. He actually wrote a song for it.
I think I remember reading up about that last night, how it's the first original song since the Ballad of the Last Chance Saloon. And the last one until, oh, what's the next composed original song? It is in Classic Who.
Is it Here's to the Future? Delta and the Bannerman?
Might be. Can't remember.
Doctor in Distress?
Doctor in Distress, Jesus Christ.
Doctor in Distress. Has there been one in New Who? I can't remember.
What? Composed original songs?
Oh no, there are. Yeah, obviously there's the long song. Forgot about that one.
Yeah, there's a plethora of them. You Put the Devil in Me, and
oh yeah, and then the Christmas Invasion one. What was it called? The fucking When I Woke
Song for
Up
10.
Today.
Song for 10, Love Don't Roam.
Face.
The Stowaway and Voyage of the Damned.
Yeah, true.
All this other stuff.
Do you count Valet de Chem because it's got lyrics in it?
Yeah, probably.
You even said that like an ood. You were like,
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, imagine.
What?
I can imagine the King's Demons as a New Who story with a Murray Gold score on it. Actually,
Probably. God. Jesus.
Anyway, oh yeah, and Chameleon would be CGI, and it would be really even weirder.
Jesus.
Right, give your conclusion and a rating out of 10 for the King's Demons.
Oh, was that it for the trip? Jesus Christ, this story is so nothingy that the trivia is... The trivia section is like
we're
two
not even
sentences.
an hour and a half in. That would be the normal length of a Classic Who story. We're not even that length in, and we're already at the conclusion.
This story is just empty. It's empty. It's just like, not even like a soullessly empty like the Saranga Conundrum or Space Pirates, but like
Hey, don't say that! Don't you dare, boy, say that!
Or a Terminus, but
Don't you?
It's like
stop right there. You stop.
it's like
right
a nothing.
there. Don't
It's
you
like a
dare
nothing where, like-
besmirch the King Robert Holmes and the God Stephen Gallagher with your dirty language, boy, or I will put you in hot boiling oil.
Don't lie. it's a nothing where like there probably could be a good...
Hey! It's a very nothing story, like Praxius.
Fuck off. It's a nothing where like there could probably be a good story with this premise, but like it's just like everyone just slacked off. It's like it kind of does have Chibnall era vibes, because like in the Chibnall era you've got these actors giving it their all, but then, and I guess the composer, but like the actual writing and stuff is just, it's a testament to how like production can only carry something so far, because if the writing is just there, it's just not engaging. And this story has that.
Even in the direction was a bit pissed, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's just part of 4.5.
I had a feeling
That's
you were
all
going to say
I
that, actually. That was the number I guessed you would say.
Part of me would say 5 because it's just so harmless, but also 4 because it's so nothingy, so I just went in between 4.5. It's just...
The King's Demons. It's alright, I guess. 5 out of 10. That's it. I have nothing else to say. It is the most middle story. Like, the most flat, average, middle story, where it's not below, but it's not above. It just exists. Doctor Who has not been made worse by it, but it has not been made better by it either.
Yeah. How low does this... Because I know you hate the Invasion of Time and Warriors of the Deep, and you weren't impressed by Time Flight. How far from the bottom of the barrel is this so far?
Well, I suppose if you consider... Are you talking about the ones I've only watched so far in the marathon?
Yes.
So I suppose that means Warriors of the Deep doesn't count yet, because I haven't seen it in my marathon yet.
Okay, how about in your marathon and in this Worst of Classic Who series? Like both, separately.
Oh.
If you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, I'm sort of re-watching the Worst of Classic Who stuff anyway. But
oh, okay.
But if we're just talking about the marathon so far, Invasion of Time is the worst, and then Time Flight is just above that, and then it's the King's Demons, and then the Smugglers, I think.
That's fair enough.
I think the Smugglers was like a solid 5, and I think the King's Demons is lucky to scrape by at a 5.
Yeah.
Like, the King's Demons, if we were going to go decimals, it's like a 5.0. Like, it's dead on.
Jesus. That's all there is to say about it. See you next time, I guess.
Well, no,
you do the outro.
Well, no, because you forget we still have one more thing to do, Will.
Oh, the Classic Who thing. The Classic Who thing? The Hellbent thing.
We have to defend a new Who story against Hellbent. We are going
the
to...
King's Demons against Hellbent. Oh no, that's not a new Who story.
We are going to defend Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks.
Oh, it's no contest. Jesus Christ.
Well, for some people, it isn't, because a lot of people think that Daleks in Manhattan is absolute shite, but they're wrong.
Daleks in Manhattan is fun and entertaining, and people who say it's out of character for the Daleks, screw you. The Cult of Skaro were literally invented to think outside the box, so of course it makes sense for them. And I know Dylan and some other people it just borrows ideas from Evil of the Daleks, and it's just like...
The context is different. It's post-Time War.
Yeah.
They have a need for survival, and it's the Cult of Skaro who are very right-brained as opposed to left-brained. Something that I did.
And so many other stories borrow ideas from other stories anyway. If we're going to judge things by that metric, then...
the first Dalek story is inspired by Nazi Germany, so it's not like,
Yeah.
It's not like everything's original. I think the context is different enough that it's not the same as Evil. I think there is enough differences from Evil for it to be its own thing.
Yeah.
I
mean, I do prefer Evil.
I find so many people's criticisms of it really bizarre. Like, people are like, oh, why are they pig slaves? I'm like, well, why not? Like, there's a character that owns a farm, and the Daleks don't give a shit about humanity, and they're trying to test their DNA to see if it's compatible with other things before they test if it's compatible with their own. It makes sense. Like, why would you not have that? And then you got...
Like, yeah, there is a weird fanboyish element of me that's like, why don't they just use Robomen? But that's just a nitpick. It's not like a genuine criticism. It's just like if they replace the pig slaves with Robomen, would it make the story any better or any worse? Not really. It's an aesthetic thing. Who cares?
I also think that for children it might confuse them because the Robomen do look very similar to the Cybermen. They just don't have armor. They only have the helmets.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's got like a really, really cool setting with, you know, cheesy American characters. Bloody Spider-Man.
Hugh loves Tallulah. Hugh has a soft spot for Tallulah.
Laszlo, what do you mean, creatures?
Tallulah! 2 L's and an H.
And you got like the whole thing with the Empire State Building and what? Okay, I don't even have to talk about the rest of the story. Martha Jones is in it, so it's going to be better than Hellbent if Martha Jones is in it.
Yeah.
100%.
Also, Daleks in Manhattan's original song is way better than Hellbent's original song.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
Daleks in Manhattan has "You Put the Devil in Me," while Hellbent just has Capaldi strumming a few notes on a guitar. That's Clara's theme, I guess.
Yeah, and it also has a fiery, brilliant David Tennant performance. And I love the scene where, like, I love the character of Solomon, and I love the bit where he wants to make peace with the Daleks, and they just kill him, and the Doctor goes all outraged about it.
If we're being pedantic and nitpicky here, but Daleks in Manhattan also handles the Daleks way better than Hellbent does.
Oh, absolutely, it does. Yeah. And I love the Empire State Building thing. I love some of the political stuff about how they're spending all the money on this big building and not using it to benefit the community of people that are starving on the streets. I think that's really cool. I love the cinematography. I love the music. I love some of the performances. And the Dalek set design is absolutely insane. And I think that's what Doctor Who's all about. Like, I don't see why people think that it's so outside the realm of Doctor Who to have a design like that. I think it's so cool. Like, how that you literally have this... What would happen if a human and a Dalek had a baby, and it would just look like that? Where it looks like this fucking Cyclops with penises coming off its head.
Very uplifting ending as well. Like, I know some people would probably be like, oh, it's so sappy and emotional. Laszlo should have just died. It's just like, well, okay, but how would that slot into the Doctor's character arc?
Mm-hmm. And then I love the bit where the humans are just like, but why? But why?
Yeah.
Then the very ending where he's just like, just one more Dalek, one left, and then that ties into when they come back in series 4. Yeah, it's a really solid story, really underrated. I don't know why people don't like it as much. I mean, it's not perfect. Like, it has a few tismy plot.
Yeah, like
issues.
the terrible green screen of
New
New York.
And also like. Some of the DNA stuff is a bit odd, like how all the Time Lord DNA gets transferred into all those people. It is a bit strange. But I
also always laugh at that bit when like Martha spots Laszlo across the stage when like Tallulah and her girls are doing the routine. And instead of just sneaking like behind backstage, she decides to walk like across the stage but hiding behind the dancers. And of course she fucks up the routine. It's like, Martha, you could have like Martha, you're smarter than this.
Yeah, but no, it's a really fucking good story, and I think people hate it for very weird reasons.
Yeah.
Whereas
like it does have a weird vibe about it that I could understand some people being put off by, but just push past it, dude.
The vibe of the story is very like Sixth Doctor era, isn't it? Like it is very like quite grotesque. But
yeah, it's got kind of a Frankenstein-y vibe with all the resurrections going on with the things and stuff.
But I think it's pretty damn good and very underrated, and miles better. Oh, actually, whenever we do these defenses, I always try and compare them to something. So you did the Daleks, right? It handles the concept of a hybrid so much better than Hellbent does.
The hybrid is Dalek Sec.
Yes.
That would have been dope. I don't know what to say about Hellbent because I just do not care about Hellbent at all.
Yeah, I think
Like since my marathon, like when I first watched Hellbent, I obviously hated it. As the years have gone on, I've just like kind of just grown more ambivalent to it. I know it's the opposite for you. I know you're like, no, it's like disgustingly bad. I'm just like, I really do not care about the Doctor Clara relationship, so this episode has absolutely no worth to me whatsoever. And I also don't have that emotional connection to Heaven Sent that everyone else does, so I extra don't care.
Well, what I can say is that even if your emotional response to it has devolved from disgust to apathy, the script has remained concretely the same and is just as shit as it was the day it aired, and that's my opinion.
It's just so... I don't care about the Doctor and Clara. They never gave me a reason.
Listen, it has character assassination in it, and there's nothing in Daleks Manhattan that's as bad as that.
Like, they never gave me a reason to care about the Doctor Clara relationship throughout any of Series 7, any of Series 8.
Oh,
they
and
tried
also,
in Series 9.
Also,
What?
Hellbent undoes the consequence of death in the worst way possible, whereas Daleks Manhattan uses it and creates really interesting drama out of it.
Yeah.
The
And in
death...
Series 9, it was too little too late, and I just don't care. And so this whole Shakespearean love tragedy of, oh, Clara, I can't live without you, it's just like, yeah, but what does she give you that any other companion doesn't? I don't know, because your relationship has been really poorly defined, so I don't give a fuck.
Yes, the toxic relationship is really poorly done, and an example of a toxic relationship that's done brilliantly is the one that is present in Daleks Manhattan, which is the Doctor and Martha Jones.
Oh, but it's bad because they can't just be nice to each other. It's out of character for the Doctor.
Oh, he's such a bully, he's such a sexist and a racist.
It's not as if each Doctor is his own like separate personality with different attitudes.
It's not like there was a whole character arc to justify it, regardless of regeneration existing. Seriously,
the show is just mean to Martha because it misses Rose. It's totally not just like it's totally not like proving that Martha is a badass underdog.
I hate it when people say that, when they say that the show doesn't like Martha Jones. Like, that's just such a stupid opinion. I'm sorry if anyone watching thinks that. That is literal brain dead logic.
It's not as if like the show is constantly proving that she's a badass underdog and like
it's
not
like the show is using her being undermined as a way to make her relatable for the fucking audience, and that's why she's great.
And she proves her worth by walking the bloody planet and then leaves the Doctor to for her own like self-improvement. Like she realizes like, oh, it's just... And then we get to see the potential she fulfills when she's over that toxic relationship, hence going to unit and stuff. It's, you know.
Yeah, if Martha
Anyway.
had been in the King's Demons, she would have thrown that knife at the Master, and it would have landed.
Hell yeah.
Actually, now I want to see a version of the King's Demons with 10 Martha and John Sim.
I guess Captain Jack would be in Turlough's position, which would fit because in Last of the Time Lords he basically is in Turlough's position.
Yeah,
just
true.
chained up in the back room.
Yeah. Well, who's Chameleon then? Is it bloody Chantho?
Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
Chameleon is the paradox machine.
Oh, Chameleon is the paradox machine.
Jesus Christ.
God.
Anyway, that was the King's Demons, and that was Daleks in Manhattan versus Hellbent.
Yeah. We haven't even gone. We've literally only gone an hour and 40 minutes. This is going to be one of the shortest ones ever.
Well, this is gonna be a running trend because next time, I'm here for the awakening.
Correct. Which we certainly won't be recording 1 second after this one ends, right? That's not going to happen.
Totally not filming in the same day.
I should have. I just took my jacket off. I should have waited until the end of the video so it would look different.
I mean, I can't be asked standing up and getting changed just for a bloody video.
Dude. Thanks for joining for the King's Demons. We'll see you next time for the Awakening. Hopefully, it's better than this.
Oh, it is. There's way more to talk about with the Awakening.
I hope so. I hope. I'm. Dear God, I hope so.
It's by a guy called Eirich Pringle. That alone is way more interesting than the King's Demons.
Anyway, we'll see you next time for the Awakening. Bye bye.
Bye bye.